Hello, folks. It is April 28th, 2025, and I am Rchard Kaine. I am seeing a little, I was 1 minute late, folks. Hi, Christina Morris. How are you? Dave and Wolfie, how you doing? Tracy Cromwell. Tim Peroni, Jim Jagger. I think the rest is just chat in the background, folks. Tim Hunt. Okay, we have a few people here. Today, Cynthia, good afternoon. And how are you today? Polly Walnuts, how you doing? Scott, how you doing? Gopher Dog, how you doing, buddy? Seems like everybody's doing okay. If they're not, they showed up here, I don't know, in good spirits. Let's put it that way. Anywho, my subject for today was Richard Cain. And I never heard him called Richard Cain. I heard him called Dick Cain. And there's not really that much that I have firsthand knowledge of, except when he was murdered. That particular day, I was driving east on Grand Avenue in a cold, kind of a light snowstorm, snow coming down. And as I was going east, I I saw Frank Schweiss standing out on the sidewalk. Now, this is in the early 70s. I knew Frank Schweiss from 1968. I knew him from many years before then. So I knew what he looked like. And Harry Elman's picture was just about everywhere. He was on the roof. And these two seemed to be talking on a walkie-talkie. And after I thought about it for a while, I said, this really isn't a good time to stop here. Because I knew Schweiss's reputation. He wasn't out there directing traffic, So I just looked at it and said, well, this is bad. It's not going to be good. And I just passed and went to where I wanted to go. Later on, I heard the stories. And for years, I heard people talking about it. The shop, which I called, and several other people around me, we called it Rosie's Grill. We didn't call it a sandwich shop. We called it the Grill, Rosie's Grill. And it was owned by Jimmy Kozo's father, which his nickname was Jelly Belly. And his real name was Sam Kozo. So anyway, the stories that I got from other people, including Marshall Cafano, were very simple. They were very simple. Just like Marshall Cafano, when he got out of prison, he wanted to come back and take his territory. And they'd given those slots to other people, so they couldn't give it to him. And he thought Sam Giancana was going to have power because that was his powerhouse buddy when he went to prison. He didn't see it all go down. It was away. So when he got back, I believe he went to, according to him, he went to see the old man, which would have been Tony Accardo. And Tony Accardo said, we can't just go in there and say, okay, you've been running this for 15 years, but you got to quit because This guy got out of jail. He's got more rank than he. It started a war. So Marshall took the leftovers. He became Joy Lombardo's counselor, and that's what did it. So we have a comment here from, well, okay, you know that to be a fact, Scott? See, that's my problem. What I'm saying here, everything I'm saying here is a fact. If it's not a fact, I'm going to tell you it's guessing. But that's the way it was. Anyway, where'd I stop? So Richard Cain came back to the U.S. He was in and out, and he crossed the border. No, you're asking a question. Listen to the story, Scott. You can ask a question afterwards, buddy. Let me finish. Your question might be answered in what I'm saying. So anyway, what happened was he was going back and forth across the border, and Sam wanted to come back to the United States, Sam Giancana. And he was this kind of gopher. And he went back and forth, back and forth. Now, the guys that I talked to, they really talked down about him. They didn't like him at all. They said, you know, he was arrogant. And he said he thinks he's going to come back in and be the prelude to, or second in command to Giancana when Giancana takes over. And it wasn't working. But there was a setup. And that was Marshall Cofano wanted to murder Ray Ryan for putting him in prison. And he could never get permission to do it. Except somebody needed him. The outfit needed him. They wanted to lure Cain into a place where he could be eliminated, murdered, assassinated, whatever you want to call it, dead. At any rate, they had Marshall contact him, and he was a little bit apprehensive. So they set up this meeting, and Marshall told him to call him on the telephone. It was a payphone. And he said, I'll be there. You know I'll be there because I'm going to answer the phone. I'll be sitting right by the phone. So Cain went along with it, and he called. Then he made a second call, and Marshall was still there. So Schweiss and Ailman up on the roof, they were lookouts. They were looking for who was coming when. They might have been there when Cain arrived. I don't know. I arrived after Cain, so I really don't know. But when they got there, Marshall was nowhere to be found. So Cain decided to stay for a while. 2 gunmen came in the door and said, this is a holdup. Now, I don't know who these 2 gunmen are. It would be a guess of mine to say it was Harry Ailman and it was Frank Schweiss. It would be a guess. But the only reason I know Schweiss was there because I saw him directly. And the only reason I knew Ailman was there was because he was up on the roof. I mean, it could have been a lookalike or something like that. But his Firebird that he always drove, his Pontiac, was down in the alley. And after the deed was done, he took off like a bat out of hell in that car. It was something else. So, as it, Tim Peroni, 2 deadly hitman. No, not really. I'm going to explain. There's 2 people that were fearful. That's all. And I'll explain to you in a second here. But Scott, I think I just answered your question. Richard Cain worked for Sam Giancana, and he was an informant at one time. He wasn't informing at the end of his life, but he did have a record of informing to the FBI. Cynthia, as I mentioned a while ago, my father was a driver, his driver, and mentioned in Caine's brother's book. Oh, and okay. Okay, Cynthia. No, it was never good to see Schweiss anywhere walking around. That's very true. It was what it was. So let's see where I left off here. What I was what I picked up, it wasn't told to me. I listened, and Joey was talking about his interrogation. You're welcome, Scott. Joey was talking about his interrogation, Joey Lombardo. He was in there when it happened. And all the guys were joking about a chalk line that was around his body, Richard Caine's body, where it blew his head off. It was on a natural shotgun murder. Both barrels went at the same time, which means it had to be a side by side. It couldn't have been a pump. But also, it blew his whole head off. There was nothing left. So it had to be under the chin, something to that effect. Maybe he was up against the wall, holding the wall, or turned around, and somebody put it underneath there. But Joey Lombardo, when he was questioned by the police, said, "I didn't see anything, officers. The only thing I saw was two big barrels," and that's the gesture he made. He said, "Those things were so big, they took my mind off of everything." And that's the way that went. Meanwhile, the outline, Joey was a comedian, as we know, a clown. And he wrote around the outline, around the wall. He said, "Here lies the ghost of Richard Caine." And they left that outline there for a long time as people stepped over it and around it. Gradually, little bits and pieces came out about Dick Caine. One of the things I heard on Coffee with Collada was there were rumors, but Frank Collada actually said that Dick Caine gave him a polygraph. There were rumors that he was doing polygraphs for the outfit. And I think he worked for the state of Illinois then. He didn't work for the sheriff's department. But he did that sort of thing, evidently. I mean, I heard a lot about it. And Collada just kind of verified it because he said whoever he was working for, we went on a job, it happened. So that's the way that part went. The other part of it is, aside from the fact that he was trying to get a stronghold back in Chicago for Sam Giancana, everybody was in power hungry. I mean, Sam went from a really powerful powerhouse to nothing. And it was a very short time, 2 years later, and he was murdered at his home. And I mean, they started falling like dominoes. Chuck and Nicoletti, what's his name? Johnny Roselli. They just, in the late 70s, they were just all going down. In the beginning, Caine was the first one. So Richard Caine was, or Dick Caine, was he was an enigma. Now, it's said, when his new releases of the FBI files, it said that he was a informant, and he also was working with a government agency through Johnny Roselli. And the idea was they were supposed to murder Castro, but it never happened. They got some poison pills from the University of Chicago. They got a lot of trick stuff from the University of Chicago, but they never used it. Or if they did use it, it didn't work. I know Castro made a couple announcements that his food tasters died from poisoning. But there was supposed to be some kind of cigar, cyanide in the cigar. When he smoked the cigar, it was supposed to kill him. all different kinds of things. The people that were involved in that, the Chicago people were Cain, because Cain was he was Giancana's right-hand man. So that's had to be had to be. Bill Crowley, how you doing, guy? Don't be sorry you're late. I'm happy you're here. Dave and Wolfie. Thank you, David. Dave, hit the like button. Thank you. I need all the likes I can get. I don't get a lot of likes, guys. After I don't see what I'm getting. After the end of the show, I look at it. Sometimes I get depressed. Oh, Frank Farrell. I'm glad you got out of the hospital, guy. Certainly am. Scott H. The Tangled Web is the name of the book that you got your information on. And I haven't read it. I don't know how accurate it is, but just like all books, movies, like Casino, it wasn't very accurate. Anybody who wants to tell me Casino was accurate, I mean, you might as well try and sell me that Brooklyn Bridge is out in Arizona. It don't get it. Can't count on it. Rico. Good afternoon, Red. And hello, ladies and gents. Hit that like button and purchase the book. It's very informative. Thank you. Thank you very much. So, people. Pimperoni, wasn't Sam gone for like, he left in 1966 after he got out of jail. He was in Cook County Jail for 1 year for contempt of court. They didn't have an MCC back then, so all prisoners just went to Cook County Jail. And after that was over, he went down to Mexico. And while he was in Mexico, that was his major problem, was he sent Dick Cain to Iran, and they opened up some Middle East casinos, made a fortune. Of course, when he got back, he didn't plan on coming back to the U.S. When he was kidnapped and brought back to the U.S. in his pajamas, he thought he could get his territory back. Well, Ricardo thought he should have a piece of the action. Him and Rico both thought that they should have a piece of the action from the gambling. And he said, oh, wait a second. You guys didn't put up a dime. That was all my money. And now you're going to tell me I got to cut up with you guys? Forget it. Didn't work out. I think those are words that shouldn't have been said. Rico, did the press make a big deal about the Cain, or was it swept underneath the rug? No, they made a big deal about it. That was in 1973. If my mind's accurate, it was in December of 1973. It was cold out. I remember that because I had my windows up. I was thinking about rolling down, pulling up in front of the sandwich shop and rolling up by Frank and saying hi to him. I didn't do it. I just passed it up. So. Dave and Wolfie, there we go. Jim Jager. Hey, Jim, how you doing? It's 4:20. Okay. BSJ, who kidnapped him? Well, he was kidnapped by Federales. They stormed his what do you call him? Villa in Mexico and yanked him out and put him on a plane. And he was met at the airport by the FBI, specifically Bill Romer. And he made a big deal out of it. It was all over the news, very much over the news. And also Dick Cain being murdered was big news. A lot of speculation from newspapers and TV, who did it, why it was done, everything else. And that's all it turned into was a legend. What I'm telling you is things that I heard people that were around would have known. Like Joey Lombardo was in there when it happened. Marshall Cofano worked with me all the time, and he told me what happened later, not when it happened. When I started picking up things and saying, I never asked. I never said, well, did this happen or did that happen? I'd make him, I'd talk about it and I'd say, I heard this and heard that. And if he answered me, fine. If he didn't say anything, that's okay too. Temperoni, information about Cain and Sam being in Dallas in 63. None that I know of. Scott H. Graduated from high school in 1974. The 70s were wild in many ways. Yes, they were. I guess I got a couple of years on the guy. There's no doubt about it, but at that time he would have thought of him as being there for security. Tim Peroni, seeing Frank Schweiss there. He didn't think it was a setup, I don't think. I don't know what he thought. I really don't know what he thought. Just like you people don't know what I'm thinking. Tracy, you were only like 3 years old when this happened. If you were born in December. But as I think about this, it is a legend. People write about it. Or they put it in their book, Tangled Web or whatever. Or it was in the newspapers. You can read the old articles. A lot of things happen. I know Rosie's was never the same after that murder took place there. It just wasn't the same. As far as Dick Cain, they did it was a delicate assassination. There was a lot of work that went into that. And as a result, for Marshall setting it up, 1977, Ray Ryan was blown to smithereens. I think it was 5 blocks away. There were car parts and windows broke. That's what happened. So I'm told. I was told that by ATF, a lot of other people too. Red Fox. Red, these videos mean a lot to me. Thank you. Thank you, Red. Red too. Red Fox. Hit that like button, buddy. If you like it, hit it. Thank you so much. I thank you. Thank you for stopping by. So it was what it was. How much do I really know about him? I'm not going to guess and tell you what all these AI channels are coming up with and say, oh, well, he was involved in this or he was involved in that. No, I don't know it. They make good stories and they get great views. I mean, when I'm looking at their views, they get, and you don't know who makes them. It's not a live person like myself. You don't know who's making it. They have a ghost name. They have an AI voice, but you have no idea who's made it. Is it true? Well, I heard it. It has to be true. They wouldn't lie to me. There's nothing on YouTube that says you can't lie. Nothing. Nothing at all. So that's just about what I know about Richard Cain or Dick Cain. He really wasn't that well liked. BSJ, you blocked those channels. I've been blocking a whole lot of them. I mean, a whole lot of them. I look and see these guys. You know what I do is when I see something that's very inaccurate, this is me. When I see something that's very inaccurate, I say, who put this out? And I go to the channel and I look at all the other, I hit the channel mark and I go up there and see what other videos they put out. And I find out they did movies or they did videos about Goodfellas, or they did things about the Gambinos in New York, or they did something about, it's just organized crime. And when I see that, I block it too, because I figure, well, it's not there. Red, I hope you're doing a live on Monday the 20th. We can all celebrate my 55th birthday. Is it a Monday? May 20th. I think my next live is going to be 7 days from today, which would be the May 5th, if I'm not mistaken. Lisa B, I'd rather have a real show than and real quantity rather than quality rather than quantity every time, Red. Don't worry about the likes. I do worry about the likes. I like people to like me. If they don't like me, I take a break. Sometimes a long break. Hey, Bill Holden's aunt. Thanks for everything, Red, from myself and Street Stories. Hey, guy, Bill Holden's aunt. How you doing, Anthony? God bless you. Lisa, you mean stop telling my stories? You know, I thought I ran out of stories until I was talking to somebody and said, you never told me about that. You never told me about that. You never told me about that. What are you running out of stories? You get writer's block? And I said, well, I don't think everybody's interested in everything I have to say. So that's the way it is. Lisa B, don't take breaks, or don't take any breaks, or stop. Thank you. Thank you. Scott B, Scott H, he's saying hi to you, Anthony. Mr. D Martini. I like your videos you're putting out lately. I really do. They should get more coverage. You're doing a great job, Anthony. He's doing AI, but it's facts, and he really does it well. Anthony, everybody's saying hi to Scott H. Saying hi to you. How you doing, buddy? You've been watching his videos too, huh? Well, I have. Dave and Wolfie. I got 39 people in here. That's all the people that want to say, wow. Well, what can I say? I'm not a popular guy. Dick Cain, he wasn't that popular either. And I don't want to be his kind of popular. I noticed that Dick Cain, all these people, they didn't live very long. Even the ones that died of natural causes didn't live very long. Jimmy Coso died of natural causes. He didn't live very long. Joey Lombardo, he died of natural causes, made it to his 90th birthday. He died in prison, though. And I don't think it was a good life. And incidentally, after that murder, one of the things that got him in a suit and tie in the Last Supper picture was the fact that he set it up and actually committed it. And it had a lot to do with him becoming street boss. It had a lot to him doing with Joey Lombardo. Had a lot to him doing with wearing the suit at that dinner and being introduced to everybody around there and say, okay, Joey's going to settle all arguments now. That had a lot to do with it. Bill Holden's aunt. Thank you. And tell Anthony hello. We appreciate your comments. Will do. Hope you do too. Mr. Cardy, I can count as one person, unlike JB. Oh, Pritzker. Oh, gosh, 3 people. Pritzker is a story. I was watching a movie the other day on Chicago, and when I read the credits, it said the JB Pritzker what do they call it, foundation, supported us. And that was it. I just threw it right off. I don't like Mr. Pritzker. He's a billionaire who's governor of Illinois, and they tell me he's going to run for president. He has no qualifications for president. He can't even run the state of Illinois properly. Chicago's going down the tubes. I mean, bad. I mean, real bad. It won't be long and there'll be 2,000 people in Chicago, not 3,000. It's bad. Anyway, folks, I do it anyway for a pause for me. But I hope you like the story. And if you have any questions, now's the time to ask them. Wide Open Monday. I'm one of these guys that will say, hey, ask me the question. If I know the answer, I'll tell you. If I don't know the answer, I won't tell you. This is not pre-recorded. I'm not doing any pre-recordeds anymore. The only pre-recorded one you're going to see, or maybe several, are going to be about my ugly drum smoker. That's the only ones that are going to be pre-recorded and edited. My stuff is not edited. Lisa B., long shot, but did you know anything about Sal Testa? No, I did not. I did not at all. Nothing. Thank you for the compliment, Bill Holden's aunt. Thank you very much, buddy. Bill Crowley, did Jimmy Carter or Barack Obama have any qualifications to be president? No, neither of them did. I like Jimmy Carter, but some of the things that he did, I really never got over. Like, one of the things he did was get rid of the draft. He decided that nobody would really be actively drafted anymore. And a lot of people, when they read that in a Sunday newspaper, like the headlines, they said, if we have a real serious war, like World War II or something like that, they're going to have a hell of a time raising an army. As far as Barack Obama goes, did he have any qualifications to be a president? None. But he had people behind him advising him what to do. Barack Obama was not his own man. He never was. One of the great investors, several of the great investors that put money into him was part of the Roosevelt family, who went into a capital company where, I don't know, he's a multi-billionaire. And he went to an offshore capital company and he put a lot of his money, other people put in his money. And when I talked to Rod Gavoyevich, or I listened to Rod, I never talked to him, but when I listened to Gavoyevich, he talks about the people that were behind him were behind Obama. Obama never served a full term of anything except the presidency. He was elected. He was a community organizer that was elected. Eventually, he came to Chicago, although he claims he was always in Chicago. That's because everything that's on the internet, either he wrote it or somebody that supported him wrote it. That's it. He rewrote history for everybody. So what happened with him was he was elected to the Illinois Senate and almost served a term. And then he was elected to the Senate, U.S. Senate. And he never served his term in the U.S. Senate, and bang, he was a candidate to be a president. And in 2008, he won. And it was rigged. It's always been rigged, folks. It never changed. Did he have any qualifications? I guess he had the best ones. He had the money, and he had the people behind him, and they were writing lies. And they told lies, and he told lies. And he was their go-to. And they thought, what better to have a black man who'll make a change? And that was his platform, to make a change. Well, he made a change, all right. Just wasn't the one I wanted. That's the way it went. Benjamin Cardi Kunderi. I moved out of Chicago in 1985. I wasn't far behind you, guy. I moved out on September 15th, 1988. People ask me, when you're coming back, and never. I wouldn't even go back to live in the suburbs. It's like not the kind of place I want to be. Obama was supported by the Chicago machine. He was supported by a lot bigger than the Chicago machine. I mean, he was New York, investment bankers, people that run this country, people that have the majority of our wealth. They're billionaires. They select the puppet that's going in there. How can a man go in to become president? He's never really made a lot of money, never been in a courtroom trial in his life, but yet he's a lawyer, a community organizer, friend of Jesse Jackson's. Jesse Jackson brought him to Chicago when he was in Detroit. And he went to Detroit after he left New York, Columbia University of New York. But that's where he met his wife. And that controversy is a whole mess. But no, they weren't qualified. Neither one were qualified. Although I did like Jimmy Carter. I can honestly say, with no holds barred, I did not like Barack Obama. I saw him, I felt it. I felt what he did. When he bailed out all the banks and he did everything that he wasn't supposed to do. He didn't take care of the little guy. He bailed out the big companies because that's what they told him to do. He was a puppet. The only reason I don't think Trump is a puppet right now is because he's got the people from the internet. He's got the base. I don't care what people say. Well, he's not my president or anything else. He got the majority of the popular vote. And he got also the electoral vote. Not by 2 points, not by 5 points. When you make 318 points or electoral votes, yeah, it's not even a 50-50 desire. It's more than that. I would say it's a 70-30. And those 30%, of people, they're lying. They're getting lied to, and they lie. Benjamin, Saudi Arabia paid for Obama's college tuition. I don't know if Saudi Arabia did, but I do know why his records were sealed. It was because he went to college on a minority status. Barry Sorrento is the name he used, and he was black. And he said he was a poor, impoverished person. So we, the people, especially the people my age, our income taxes paid for Barack Obama to go to school, all the way from high school. He went to school in Beverly Hills, and that was a joke. It's a mess. Tim Hunt, who changed the voting age from 21 to 18? That, my friend Tim Hunt, was believe it or not, and I fought for that very, very hard. And I was glad when it happened. But that was our peanut farmer, Jimmy Carter. He changed it. He voted it into law. He brought it up and pushed it through Congress. I loved it. I wanted that more than anything. I figured if you can get drafted, you should have a say-so in who's drafting you. I thought that was important. Tim Peroni, you want me to keep talking about Barry Sorrento, huh? Well, these people that I'm talking about Uh, they were certainly more powerful than the Chicago outfit. It didn't take them but 2 decades to get rid of the outfit. How long do you think it's going to take care of us to get rid of our politicians? Somebody just ran a poll in Facebook, and they said, what do you think would make the earth a better place? You know, if you had one wish, what it would be. And people were saying peace, and they were saying all different kinds of things. I put down, get rid of all politicians, not just here in the US, everywhere, all over the country. And they said, oh, you can't do that. We need our politicians. No, we don't. We can hire new ones. We can have fair elections. We can have a lot of things. If the people at the top, the deep state, see that we are actually doing something as the little worker ants or worker bees, they won't be able to do anything, just like they couldn't do anything on Trump. And believe me, he's clearing the way. He's clearing the way now. Jimmy Carter, probably the least corrupt president of the last. Yeah, he was. He was, Tim. I liked him. He didn't get a lot of things done properly, but I liked him. I mean, there's a few things he did that was wrong. Schweiss tapes. I have a copy of 2 of them, and I have to work on that with Adam when he gets time. And as you see, we have a problem with Adam. He's very busy, and we haven't done our Wednesday shows. He doesn't even do them for himself. We can self-govern us to a certain degree. We can self-govern, and other countries too. But if they were all gone, we would elect new ones. And I think we'd be smarter than that. I think they'd be people that didn't have a lot of money. They'd be people that we all knew or heard of. And they would give us the kind of government we want, because we are the government, we the people. The people that represent us in government positions as politicians, I don't think they're doing a very good job. So I don't know, we have some corruption in people too. I mean, everybody's inherently corrupt. I was inherently corrupt. If somebody had their hand out, I put money in it. If they didn't have their hand out, I offered it. That's just the way it is. John Wallace, hello to you from Duke City. How you doing, John? Thank you for stopping by. If you can, John, hit that like button if you do like me or you like the show. Bill Holden's aunt. Here we go. Thanks again, Red. I will send the love to you and Anthony on the channel. I love you, buddy. I really do. So anyway, folks, this is my Monday, April 28th, 2025 podcast. And I want to thank every one of you for stopping by. I want to thank every one of you for listening to me. No, it wasn't just about Johnny Roselli, or it wasn't just about CM Giancana. It wasn't about Dick Cain, Richard Cain. It was a little bit about him. I told you only the things I could know. And as usual, we went all over the playground. But I hope you enjoyed it. And I thank all of you. And God bless you. And we'll see you next week. Next Monday for sure. Maybe again this week. I don't know. I may do it again. Just to pop in there and say hi. Have a great weekend. When it comes up, I will. We just got over the weekend. Lisa B, thank you too. Tim Hunt, always a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you, one and all. God bless you, one and all. And have a great week. See you, Scott H.
The combination of the videotapes and Ouimet's testimony resulted in the conviction of 2 men on extortion charges. One of them was Frank Schweiz, known in syndicate circles as the German, a feared mob terrorist and a suspect in a number of gangland murders.
He was described to me by other outfit individuals as the most feared hitman. And as he said to me, my reputation precedes me, son.